Hello, Internet. How are we this lovely Thursday evening? Hope everyone's having a good one. The RGS, nice to see you. All fresh and early. I love it. All right. Yeah. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's having a good one. I had a job interview today and I got there and the dude wasn't expecting me. Yeah, that's the California jobs market for you. Well, it is what it is. All right. We got a lot of California stuff that I want to get into. But first, Wally World, nice to see you. She's still laying there. I'm sure she'll get around to it, Wally. I'm sure she'll come say hi at some point. Yeah, tons of California stuff that I want to get into. Right before the show started, I saw a clip of was the Oakland rowing team. I don't know what high school it is or college or whatever it is, but they're practicing over on the Sacramento River and somebody fired on them. I don't know if they fired on the rowing team, but you see rounds hit the water 20, 25 feet away from the rowing team as they're going by. You see at least 2 rounds hit the water. So I don't know what the hell that was about. I'll show the clip, and if you guys want to look it up, before I get to it, but see if there's any extra news on that, because I don't know what the hell's going on. That's insane. But before we do, I want to talk about the Antisemitism Bill, because that's been weighing on my mind for like a week now. Okay, now you want to say hi? All right. Scarlett says hello, everybody. Oh, she stomped on my balls. You do it like every time. I don't know why you have to do that, Scarlett. All right. I know. I love you too. Okay, go get. Before we get started, if you guys are a California parent and you're sick of trans flags flying on all of the California flagpoles, a lot of people will say it's just a flag. What do you care? It's like, well, do you fly the prisoners of war missing in action flag on Veterans Day? No, they don't. How would you guys feel about a Gadsden flag flying? How would you feel about a black flag flying? How would you feel about a swastika flying? It's not just a flag. They mean something. And the trans flag, if you ask me, doesn't stand for the transgender movement. That's not what it stands for. It stands for a radical Marxist agenda that's being jammed down all these kids' throats. And if you're tired of it, go over to the California Parents Union and sign up. If you are a California parent, you have kids in school, you absolutely should be signing up for the California Parents Union. There's tons of documents in there that you have access to, that if you want to keep your kid out of a certain thing certain agenda that they're pushing in class that you find out about, you can have the teacher sign it. You can put teachers on blast. It gives you tools to do that. Put teachers on blast, put the administrators on blast. So go over to CaliforniaParentsUnion.com/CaliBased, sign up, use that link, and it helps support the show as well. So if you are a California parent, you should be in the California Parents Union, because you got the whole teachers union against you. So, all right, we'll get right into it. Let's talk about the old anti-Semitism bill, shall we? Danger, nice to see you. Pirate flag, yeah. I mean, a lot of people do fly the pirate flag in their thingy. Wife and I are signing up next month. Oh, that's awesome. Appreciate it, dude. Yeah. All right. Danger, nice to see you. Good to see you here. Let's get right into it. And I talk about this clip all the time, and I finally have it pulled up. This is old Noam Chomsky before he went insane and started calling for. Remember during COVID, Noam Chomsky was calling for. He was calling for the unvaccinated to be separated from society. Like, I'm pretty sure he said put in camps too. I mean, he completely lost his freaking mind. But back in the day, he used to be like a reasonable, normal liberal, like anti-war, pro-free speech. That was pretty much the standard when you said you're a liberal back in the day. That is no longer the case. But I always talk about free speech, and you hear people say things like hate speech and bigoted speech and anti-Semitic speech and racist speech or whatever. It's all free speech. All of it. Especially the stuff you don't like. Particularly the stuff you don't like. If you're not willing to stand up for the rights of people to say shit you find horrible, then you're not pro free speech. It's really easy to support people you agree with and their right to talk. That's easy. Everybody can do that. It's when people that you hate, your enemies, supporting their right to say whatever they want. Unless you are outright trying to get a mob to murder somebody or say somebody should be murdered. I mean, even saying somebody should die, like, to me, that's free speech. If you're not instructing somebody to go commit violence, it's free speech. It's all of it. Racist speech, bigoted speech, transphobic speech, anti-white speech, all of it. Anything you want to say is free speech. And Noam Chomsky used to explain this. Like, this was a concept I thought everybody understood. Everybody. Because once you say, well, hate speech shouldn't be allowed, well, then you have to define what hate speech is. And it's not you that's going to define it. It's the government that's going to define it. And anytime the government defines something, they're going to use it loosely and use it to ban stuff that has nothing to do with hate speech. And that's what we're going to talk about with the Antisemitism Bill, because we're going to see, what is anti-Semitism anyway? Is anti-Semitism talking about the USS Liberty, RGS? You know what I'm talking about there. Is anti-Semitism saying that AIPAC should be registered as a foreign entity? Is that anti-Semitic? Is it anti-Semitic to say that Israel shouldn't be going? Israel's committing genocide? Is that anti-Semitic? Is it anti-Semitic to say that they have a strange amount of control over our government? Is that anti-Semitic? All of the stuff that you say is a certain type of speech that shouldn't be allowed to say or be said. They have to define what that is. The government has to define what that is if you want to make a law against it. That's exactly what they're doing with the Antisemitism Bill. But let's listen to Noam Chomsky talk about the idea around that I thought was just common knowledge, that I thought we all accepted as a society, but apparently we've gone backwards and we need to revisit this idea.
I regard this as not only trivial, but as compared with other positions I've taken on freedom of speech, invisible. I do not think that the state ought to have the right to determine historical truth and to punish people who deviate from it. I'm not willing to give the state that right, even if they happen to
But are you denying that the gas chambers ever existed?
But I'm saying, if you believe in freedom of speech, you believe in freedom of speech for views you don't like. I mean, Goebbels was in favor of freedom of speech for views he liked, right? So was Stalin.
And you hear what, as soon as Noam Chomsky, a Jew, says that you have to defend the rights of Nazis to speak, immediately you hear the kids say, well, are you saying that the gas chambers didn't exist? No, that's not. That's what I was saying. That's what I would have said. He's saying no. But people that do believe that the gas chambers didn't exist should be allowed to say that. And then you can point at them and come at them with your rebuttal. Like, that's how you have arguments in a society. You allow people to say things that you don't agree with, things that might be complete lies, falsehoods, propaganda, whatever. You shine a giant spotlight on it and you say, this is why it's a lie, propaganda, or stupid. Here's my speech. You battle bad speech with good speech. You don't try to suppress it. Then you get the Streisand effect. Look at what happened to Alex Jones. Look what happened to Nick Fuentes. Whether you agree with those guys or not, Alex Jones is bigger than he's ever been. He disappeared for a while, but he's back, and he's bigger than he's ever been. And InfoWars is blowing up. Look at Nick Fuentes. They locked him out of payment processors. They locked him out of banks. Like, how do you do that to somebody? And they suppressed him, and people dismissed him, and he got labeled as anti-Semitic and, a Jew hater and all these things. And when you do that, it sort of piques people's curiosity. You're like, what is this guy really saying? What's he saying? What's so bad that he's saying? And people start looking into it. And now look, he's back and he's bigger than ever. It doesn't help your cause when you try to shut people up. When you try to, what do they say? Cutting out a man's tongue does not prove him wrong. It only proves that you fear what he has to say. That's it. That is it. And I thought this was something that everybody agreed on, that this was a common knowledge cornerstone of our society thing here in America. Apparently it's not. Apparently people think censorship is good still. Noam Chomsky does not.
If you're in favor of freedom of speech, that means you're in favor of freedom of speech precisely for views you despise. Otherwise, you're not in favor of freedom of speech. There's two positions you can have on freedom of speech. Now, you can decide which position you want. With regard to my defense of the utterly offensive, the people who express utterly offensive views, I haven't the slightest doubt that every commissar says, you're defending that person's views. No, I'm not. I'm defending his right to express them. The difference is crucial, and the difference has been understood outside of fascist circles since the 18th century.
There it is. He's basically saying if you don't support the speech of fascists to speak, you are a fascist. That's it. That's all there is to it, really. All right. Any thoughts on that, guys? Am I wrong? Is Noam Chomsky wrong? See, B Sizzo, nice to see you. North Side, Lock Fuentes out of Flying Wild Stuff. What? What do you mean? I don't. Can you elaborate on that, North Side? Flying Wild Stuff. I don't know what that means. There's people calling him a Fed though. I didn't even know Nick Fuentes was at January 6th, and people are calling him a Fed because he did. I'm not saying he's a Fed. I'm not saying he's not a Fed either. I don't know a lot about Nick Fuentes, but he was at January 6th and he was doing some Ray Epstein type stuff. He had a bullhorn. He was telling people to go to the Capitol. So I don't know. He didn't get locked up. It's a little strange. Fuentes was on the side type of the no-fly list. Oh, wow. I didn't know he was on a no-fly list. Some type of no-fly list. Gotcha. So it's okay to say you're gay? Yeah, absolutely. In fact, if you guys knew my friends, they always call me gay. They called me Big Gay Mike. And then it turned into BGM. And then one night when we were playing poker, my buddy Robbie was really drunk. I took all his cards or all his chips, and he got really mad and he stood up and he tried to call me BGM, and it just came out Beej. So till this day, a lot of my friends still call me Beej, and it all started with Big Gay Mike. So yeah, Wally, absolutely, you can absolutely call me gay. I'm not gay though. I'm happy, but I'm not gay. No homo. All right, let's keep going. Let's go over to Thomas Massey and see what he has to say about this whole anti-Semitism bill. Let's break it down a little bit. Let's go to Mr. Massey here. The RGS, I talked to, what's his name, Paul? I think his name's Paul, right? The guy that was on the USS Liberty. Let's see. Phil. Talked to Phil today for like 40 minutes, and we're going to do quite the episode. He agreed to talk to me for 2 hours because there's so much I want to talk to him about. Do you know he was on, the Gulf of Tonkin ship, the RGS, the ship that they said got fired on to get us into the Vietnam War? He was on that boat too. Not when they said the alleged incident happened, but after that alleged incident happened, he was on that ship. Isn't that crazy? So he's been around. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, the USS Liberty during the 6 Days War, that was like a surveillance ship that we sent out in international waters off the Egyptian coast, and Israel attacked it. And Mr. Phil is a survivor from that ship, and he's going to be coming on the show soon. I don't know what date I haven't booked yet, but we're going to have a very in-depth conversation about that. He has a lot of things to say, a lot of important things to say. All right, let's see what Massey has to say here. BGM. Yeah, you like that, Wally? That was my nickname. BGM. Big Gay Mike. Jerks. Should be Big Gay Michael. I introduced myself as Michael, but everybody ends up calling me Mike. All right, so Thomas Massey said Tommy Massey. I wonder if anybody calls him Tommy. Tommy Massey says, today the House will vote on a bill to define anti-Semitism with the intent to increase prosecutions of activity on campuses. And this won't stay just on campuses. You know, they're using that as the precedent to introduce this thing, but you know this won't just be for campuses, right? It'll be used online. It'll be used in all sorts of ways. The bill has a problem beyond violating the First Amendment. The definition of anti-Semitism appears nowhere in the bill. Why? This is a thread that he wrote up. I don't know why he wrote a thread. You can just do long posts now. Maybe because he wanted to include links. To find the legally adopted definition of anti-Semitism, one must go to the website below. Not only is the definition listed there, but one also finds specific examples of anti-Semitic speech. Are those examples made part of the law as well? So in the bill, they say anti-Semitism, anti-Semitism is defined as it is defined in the Holocaust remembrance. What is it? I'll just open it really quick. It's like a 4-letter acronym. Oh yeah, the International Holocaust Remembership Alliance. Remembrance Alliance. Sorry, remembership. Is that even a word? So, working definition of anti-Semitism. Yeah, I'll just read it. It's not that long here. So working definition of anti-Semitism. Working. Does that mean it's always changing? Oh, okay. They're going to pass a bill that defines a term in a way that's broad and always changing. You guys see any potential problems with that? First of all, again, anti-Semitic speech is free speech. Like, this whole bill on its face is against the First Amendment. It's anti-free speech. But then they have to define a term, like I said. So, all right. In the spirit of the Stockholm Declaration that states, with humanity still scarred by anti-Semitism and xenophobia, the international community shares a solemn responsibility to fight those evils. Let me share this. Those evils. The Committee on Anti-Semitism and Holocaust Denial called the IHRA plenary in Budapest 2015 to adopt the following working definition of anti-Semitism. On 26 May 2016, the plenary in Bucharest decided adopt the following non-legally binding working definition of anti-Semitism. So they make a bill, a legal bill, to use a term that's non-legally binding. Funny. Okay. Anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews, which may be expressed as hatred towards Jews. Rhetoric and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed toward Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, toward Jewish community institutions and religious facilities. To guide the IHRA in its work, the following examples may serve as illustrations. Manifestations might include the targeting of the state of Israel, conceived as a Jewish collectivity. However, criticism of Israel similar to that levied against any other country cannot be regarded as anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitism frequently charges Jews with conspiring to harm humanity, and it is often used to blame Jews for why things go wrong. It is expressed in speech, writing, visual forms, and action, and employs sinister stereotypes and negative character traits. Contemporary examples of anti-Semitism in public life, the media, schools, the workplace, and in the religious sphere could, taking into account the overall context, include but are not limited to. All right, you guys ready for the list? Calling for, aiding, or justifying the killing or harming of Jews in the name of a radical ideology or extremist view of religion. So yeah, that's pretty bad, right? Calling for, aiding, or justifying the killing or harming of Jews. Well, that's already illegal. It's already illegal to call for somebody to physically harm somebody else. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. I mean, but even that is sort of a slippery slope, because if you say I'm trouble thinking of an example off the top of my head, but if you say something sort of jokingly, like that person should be whatever, there's problems. There's problems with somebody calling for somebody else to be harmed, because then you have to define that too. Is me saying that somebody should punch you in the face? Is that, I mean, is that, should you be able to be arrested for saying somebody should punch that guy in the face, or you should be punched in the face, like, or somebody should slap the shit out of you? Should that be illegal? So calling for or harming Jews, somebody should slap. You see, it's a slippery slope, but we'll continue. Making mendacious, dehumanizing, demonizing, or stereotypical allegations about Jews as such, or the power of Jews as a collective. Getting tricky there. Such as, especially but not exclusively, the myth about a world Jewish conspiracy, or of Jews controlling the media, economy, government, or other societal institutions. So this bill that's introduced is using this as its criteria for what is anti-Semitism. So if somebody says Jews are controlling the media or the economy or the government, then that's anti-Semitism and you would be breaking the law. So when I say that AIPAC seems to have a great deal of control over our government, and they do, with who they fund and then how those people vote that are funded by them, that would be illegal. Accusing Jews as a people of being responsible for real or imagined wrongdoing committed by a single Jewish person or group, or even for acts committed by non-Jews. And again, like, I agree with the sentiment. Like, yeah, that's not great. Calling all Jews something because one person that happens to be Jewish does something bad. Yeah, I don't like that either. Shouldn't be illegal. It's, people are allowed to say hateful stuff. Denying the fact, scope, mechanisms, e.g. gas chambers, or intentionality of genocide of the Jewish people at the hands of National Socialist Germany and its supporters, and compliances during World War II, the Holocaust. Okay, so you can't question the Holocaust, anything about it. Can't question anything about the Holocaust, including that 6 million number. You're not allowed to question that. Accusing the Jews as a people or Israel as a state of inventing or exaggerating the Holocaust. Exaggerating. See, there's a lot of people out there that claim the 6 million number might be inflated. I'm not making any allegations either way, but there are people that claim that could be exaggerated. Well, that would be illegal. Accusing Jewish citizens of being more loyal to Israel or to the alleged properties of Jews worldwide than to the interests of their own nations. So would saying, I don't think members of Congress should be allowed to be dual citizens. Like, there are American citizens that appear to be more loyal to Israel. That's illegal to say? Oh man, this is getting dicey. Accusing Jewish citizens of being more loyal to Israel. Well, I mean, what if you're born in Israel? Like, what, you should be more loyal. If you're an Israeli, you should be more loyal to Israel than any other country. It's your home country. I mean, what? That, if you have dual citizenship, you're born in Israel. And yeah, I'm not even necessarily saying that if you're an American and an Israeli, that you shouldn't be more loyal to Israel. I mean, but I don't think you should be allowed in government. I don't think dual citizenship of any country should be allowed in government. So this is getting slippery. Denying the Jewish people their right to self-determination, e.g. by claiming that the existence of a state of Israel is a racist endeavor. So, okay. So you can't claim that there's people that hold Jewish supremacy. You can't make that claim. Applying double standards by requiring of it a behavior not expected or demanded of any other democratic nation. Applying double standards by requiring of it a behavior not expected or demanded of any other democratic nation. Huh. You mean like an all-inclusive society? Like, feels like Israel's the one that holds America to a double standard. They don't allow a lot of things that we allow in America. Huh. Are you allowed to be openly Muslim and have a mosque in Israel? You're allowed to do that in America. I mean, isn't that a double standard? I'm just saying. Using the symbols or images associated with classic anti-Semitism, e.g. claims of Jews killing Jesus or blood libel, to characterize Israel or Israelis. So you can't say the Jews, that's the big one that everybody's focusing on. You can't claim the Jews killed Jesus, even though it says it in the New Testament. That's the one that's like really, all of these to me jump out as very problematic if you're going to make this law. But drawing comparisons of contemporary Israeli policy to that of the Nazis. So you can't say what Israel's doing in Gaza is similar to what the Nazis did to the Jews in World War II. You can't say that. Every single one of these bullet points I have a problem with. Holding Jews collectively responsible for actions of the state of Israel. Well, yeah, like that. I mean, but again, you should be able to say it. I don't agree with that. I like my buddy that was on last night. You guys all know he's a Jew, and he's like he's just like become one of my favorite people. He's like, Eric is like my brother, man. Yeah, I don't hold him responsible for anything Israel's done ever. We both have the same struggle. So but you should be able to say it. So, all right. Anti-Semitic acts are criminal when they are so defined by law. For example, the denial of Holocaust or distribution of anti-Semitic material in some countries. Criminal. It's criminal. You should be able to be locked up for this, you guys. This is the bill they're trying to pass. Criminal acts are anti-Semitic when the targets of attacks, whether they are people or property, such as buildings, schools, places of worship, and cemeteries, are selected because they are or are perceived to be Jewish or linked to Jews. So if Israel targets a mosque, would that be the same thing as Muslims targeting a synagogue? I mean, okay. Or what about when Israel targets an Iranian consulate? Is that similar? Anti-Semitic discrimination is the denial of Jews of opportunities or services available to others and is illegal in many countries. So, I mean, on that basis right there, they'd be able to lock up Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes doesn't believe Jews should be allowed to be in our government. I don't necessarily agree with that. I've never even thought about Nick Fuentes thinks that only Christians or Catholics should be allowed to be in government. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I'd never even put that much thought into that. I'd never put any thought into that until he raised that as an idea. But that goes against the whole separation of church and state thing. So I'm not even going to state an opinion on that. But that's the anti-Semitism bill, or that's how the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance defines anti-Semitism, and that's how this bill. So again, we'll go back. Today, the House will vote on a bill to define anti-Semitism with the intent to increase prosecutions or activity on campuses. The bill has a problem beyond violating the First Amendment. The definition of anti-Semitism appears nowhere in the bill. Why? He says, to find the legally adopted definition of anti-Semitism, one must go to the website below. Not only is the definition listed there, but one also finds specific examples of anti-Semitic speech. Are those examples made part of the law as well? Any questions? So major problems, guys. Major problems with this bill. Major problems with this bill. And people are not liking it. This is, I don't know if you guys know Scott Adams. Scott Adams, I'm a huge fan of. There's been some clips of him taken very out of context, but anyway, we'll continue. Scott Adams, people are constantly saying in the chat like anti-Semitic stuff. People are constantly accusing Jews of things in his chat, and he's always defending Israel. He's always defending. He's speaking out against anti-Semitism. He's always against it. Well, this bill came out, and this is what Scott Adams had to say about it. Very interesting. It's like, as soon as you say, I can't say something, guess what I'm going to start saying all the time. And that's sort of Scott's point here. I lose audio, guys. I got the notification again that I lost audio. Let's start this over. So annoying. It's been doing that lately. Maybe I need to update my my stuff here. Danger, you think there's mosques in Israel? I think there might be some in the West Bank, but yeah. Well, it wasn't my fault, and I noticed it, so I'm going back. And I don't drink. Let's see. Yeah, you guys all drink since I screwed up the audio there. Yeah, let's go back to Mr. Scott Adams. You guys tell me if you got audio this time.
I want to know the full list of what I'm not supposed to fucking say. And I'm going to say everything on that fucking list every day. Give me the list. Give me the fucking list of what I'm not supposed to say about Israel, about what I'm not supposed to say about Jews. And you make that illegal, I'm going to say it every fucking day. And I am anti-Israel, period. I am fucking anti-Israel. Because the ADL, I know the ADL doesn't work for Israel. But if Israel doesn't shut their fucking dog down, which is the ADL, their little attack dog, they can shut them down tomorrow. Shut them the fuck down. I can't have the ADL and this law at the same time. I cannot have the ADL in business accusing people of being Holocaust deniers with this particular system. Fuck Israel. Fuck Israel. Fuck the ADL.
Now, this is just a clip, and this has to be part of a much broader point here, because he is not anti-Israel. Scott Adams is not, but Israel has pissed him off with this whole thing. So, and when you're saying what he's saying there, fuck Israel, he's talking about the government. He's not talking about the people. He's talking about the government. So that should be greatly clarified.
This can't stand. If you want to make me fucking hate the people you want me to like, keep doing this. Keep telling me you're going to put me in fucking jail for my opinion. In this case, an opinion I didn't even hold. You motherfuckers. And by the way, if somebody votes for this, I need the whole list of anybody in the Senate who votes for this. I want to know if there's any fucking Republican who votes for this. If you're a Republican in the Senate and you vote for this, you're my enemy. I will try to do everything I can to get you out of office. I will defame you in every fucking way I can figure out how to do it. I will figure out who your opponents are, and I'll help fund them. I will vote for a Democrat over you. If you're a Republican and you let this get passed, fuck you. You're dead to me. You're dead to me. You are my enemy, mortal enemy. And by the way, I'm fighting to stay in a jail. You don't think I'm going to put some energy into this? Fuck you. Every one of you. No, this law, if this becomes a law, I'm not going to act the same.
Scott Adams has been activated. All right, we got audio now. Good. DRGS really like the Congress members that are trying to make the bill that says the pro-Palestinian college kids should be sent to Gaza for 6 months. If caught, sounds like a threat to me. Yeah, and I mean, this is something that I talked about with Phil on the phone earlier today, and I don't hear enough people saying this conspiracy theory, because I guess I guess I don't know if I'm alone on this. I don't think I am. I think there's other people that have said it, but the whole Palestinian protest stuff that's going on campus, even the New York Times is reporting that this is like well funded. There's like activist groups getting involved, very similar to the George Floyd stuff. And everybody seems to be thinking, yeah, this is funded by like Hamas supporters and Hezbollah and Iran or whatever. And that's exactly not what I was thinking. I was thinking, yeah, this stuff. I mean, you guys saw the Protests on Demand website, the clip that I had going around for a while. That group that they'll, for the right amount of money, they'll supply the signs, the protesters. They'll get a ton of people to your cause. This is actual thing funded by like George Soros, that kind of stuff. But my thought wasn't Hezbollah, Hamas, and all that stuff. I was thinking that the anti-Israel protests that you're seeing on campuses are actually funded by Israel. That sounds counterintuitive to people, I guess, but what better way to discredit your enemy and take the eyes off of what you're doing in Gaza than to infiltrate your enemy's cause, paint it in a bad light, and draw a ton of attention to it. So that was my immediate thought with it. So yeah, this whole thing's strange. And then the timing of this bill coming out, infiltrate your enemy, say a bunch of horrible things, horrible anti-Semitic things, and then present a bill that says you're not allowed to say those things. You'll be locked up. I mean, pretty sneaky, if you ask me. And that's just immediately what I thought was going on. Northside, how many of these Congress critics voting on this have dual citizenship? Exactly. How many were funded by AIPAC? It's exactly. But in another sense, but in another sense, didn't Jesus allow himself to get caught slipping? Bro. Oh boy. All right. You're gonna get me in trouble. All right. So I already read all the definitions. That's what this next thing was. Let's go over to my friend Matt Kim here and see what he has to say on this bill. He talks about it for a little bit. Pretty sure we're on the same page. Give Matt Kim a follow. He puts out a lot of great content.
The House just voted on H.R. 6090, the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act, 320 to 91. I told you, free speech is at risk. Christianity is at risk. They're coming for your freedom and values. They're attempting to pass a federal law making it illegal to criticize Israel and utilizing the definition of anti-Semitism by a group called the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. Who is this group? Long story short, it's not American. Why are non-American organizations defining our words and laws? Under this new bill, the federal government can sue, prosecute, or sanction more people, businesses, and universities for supposed violations of civil rights law. I'm not advocating for anti-Semitism or hate at all, but I do know that freedom of speech is at risk. And freedom of speech means that we need to live with words or ideas we don't agree with. Here are a list of things that would be considered illegal if this bill passes the Senate and gets signed into law. Saying Ben Shapiro loves Israel more than America, illegal. Saying Jewish people are responsible for their...
I just said that. I just said, I tweeted, I responded to Ben Shapiro and said Ben Shapiro is Israel first. That would be illegal.
Crucifixion of Jesus, illegal. Saying Jewish people control the media economy and government, illegal. Saying October 7th was an inside job, illegal. Being a Holocaust denier, of course, illegal. Saying George Soros is trying to create chaos and usher in a new world order, illegal. You may or may not agree with any of these statements. That's not the point. The issues, opinions, and beliefs are yours and yours alone. You are allowed to hold them regardless of what the government tells you to believe. Free speech is the cornerstone of our society. First, they take your words, then they take your ideas and ability to communicate. Next, we're nothing but slaves serving their dystopian oligarchy.
And as he says, you wouldn't be allowed to say that that October 7th was an inside job. As he says that, well, again, so talking with Phil today, the gentleman that was a survivor of the USS Liberty attack, and again, I'll recap a little bit. It's six-day war with Egypt, the Israel and Egypt six-day war. The United States sent, I can't remember the name. Oh yeah, the USS Liberty off the coast of Egypt in international waters, and it was attacked by Israel. And it was attacked over the course of 2 hours. Originally attacked by airplanes, then by torpedo boats. They dropped napalm on it. This was a clear, deliberate attack, and they knew it was an American ship. Took out the communications first, and this whole attack was done in waves, and they were clearly trying to sink this boat. And you might ask, well, why? Why would Israel do that? And they didn't sink the boat. And then they had to come out and say, this was all one big giant misunderstanding. Oopsie daisies. We didn't do it on purpose, even though there's audio of the pilots of the planes that are about to attack them. That says, hey, this is an American ship talking back to their commanders on shore. And they said, follow orders. That audio is out there. They knew who they were attacking. They did it anyway. And they were trying to sink that ship. And when they didn't, they had to come out and say, oopsie daisies, wasn't us. It was an accident, all that kind of stuff. But you have to ask, why did they do it in the first place? Well, if they were trying to sink the ship and kill everybody on that boat and do it covertly, where the United States didn't know, and then blame it on Egypt, well, the United States would then have to enter a war with Egypt, wouldn't they? And if the United States enters a war with Egypt and levels some of it, well, to the victor go the spoils, right? So the idea is that it would be a land grab. Well, fast forward to October 7th. You got people with parachutes and fans, and the Israeli government there isn't anything that Hamas does that they don't know about, including those damn tunnels. They got to practice flying around with these parachutes and all this, and it took them 6 hours to respond to all of this, and the most intelligent intelligence agency on earth didn't know this attack was coming. And then after the attack started, it took them 6 hours to respond. So you can't ask the question, hey, was this allowed to happen, to use as a false flag to go into Gaza, level it, and do a complete land grab? You're not allowed to ask that question, because we got to look back at what happened with the USS Liberty and why that was allowed to happen. Anti-Semitic to suggest that. And Ben Shapiro gets mad when you say just asking questions. Well, I am just asking questions. But yeah, I'll clarify. I do think that October 7th was allowed to happen. I do think that. I don't think there's any possible way that Israel, Mossad, knew that this attack wasn't coming. And there's no logical reason why it should have taken 6 hours for them to respond. And I do think this is one giant land grab. And if you look back at what happened with the USS Liberty, it's easy to see why someone would make that speculation. And that is what I'm doing. I'm speculating. I have no proof of this, but that's what it looks like. And I am asking the question, Ben Shapiro. So call me anti-Semitic all you want. This looks extremely shady. So by this new anti-Semitism bill, I'm sure I'll be getting arrested anytime here. All right, let's keep going. Got a little bit more to cover with this, and then we'll go. Let's go over to Charlie Kirk here. So Charlie Kirk, who is definitely pro-Israel, who is a fan of Israel, a friend of Israel, says, in response to the campus anti-Israel protests, the House is rushing to vote on a new bill, H.R. 690. This bill would officially define anti-Semitism so the federal government can sue, prosecute, or sanction more people, businesses, and universities for supposed violations of civil rights law. I abhor anti-Semitism, but this bill is flagrantly unconstitutional and an appalling attack on the First Amendment. This bill would make it illegal to compare Israel policies to the Nazi policies. It would make it illegal to describe Israel as racist. It It would also make it illegal to accuse the American citizens of being more loyal to Israel than to the United States. All of those behaviors might be stupid or repugnant, but they are indisputably protected by the First Amendment. Yet now, congressional Republicans are rushing to gut the First Amendment in order to pass a Europe-style ban on supposed hate speech. Rioters should be arrested. Unhinged Israel-hating students who take over buildings and refuse to leave should be expelled. But I stand with Rep. Thomas Massey. This bill is an affront to the Constitution and must not pass. So, I mean, this whole thing should be a giant wake-up call to leftists that were calling for hate speech to be made illegal. Remember all that? Tons of leftists calling for hate speech, transphobic speech, sexist speech, all of bigoted speech to be illegal. That's not free speech. Hate speech isn't free speech. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. All of the speech is free speech. That's the whole point of the First Amendment. Charlie Kirk saying all that stuff. And I mean, that is the definition of being pro-free speech there. He's clearly saying, I do not agree with any of that stuff. I think it's abhorrent. You should still be allowed to say it. That's the Noam Chomsky stance on all of it. So, all right. That's the anti-Semitic bill, and that's my hot take on it. So, GS, Israel wanted to nuke Egypt, and we weren't on board. This was to try to get U.S. in. Just my opinion. Well, it's not just you. The real problem. Anna Banana, Ramalama. That's a great name. The real problem in this and all countries is the West is Zionism. Voting doesn't matter until Zionists are kicked out of the West. Well, no, I don't agree Zionists should be kicked out of the West. I mean, what are you calling for? Deportation of American citizens? There's Americans that are Zionists. People that are born in America that are Zionists. You're calling for the deportation of them? I don't think that's the solution there. Some would agree with you. I don't. But free speech. You are entitled to your opinion, and I will not suppress anybody's free speech on my platform. Well, that's actually not true. Sometimes you guys say some stuff in the chat that I'm not going to repeat. You guys can keep it up there. I won't hide it, but I'm not going to say it. It's just, yeah. I'll say that one, though. Anna Banana, Rama, Lama, thank you for being here. Michael Letter, speech that they hate is considered hate speech. Exactly. Well, this should be a giant wake-up call for them because, they say, probably because I'm a Zionist. Okay, wimp. How am I a Zionist? Like, please explain that. How am I a Zionist in any way? Please explain. Because hold on. So you really do think that people that were born in America that call themselves Zionists should be kicked out of America? Is that what you're saying there? Are you going to kick them out? Because, I mean, what? Are you a wimp? What are you talking about? Like, yeah, I don't agree with that. Anna Banana, Ramalama. It's pretty bold for somebody with that name to call me a wimp. It's hilarious. All right. Whatever, Anna Banana. Okay. We'll keep going here. Let's talk about some California stuff. Let's actually, before I do, California Parents Union, you guys, I already told you guys, but yeah, if you guys are a Californian and you got kids in school, you should definitely join the California Parents Union to help fight against the teachers union and all the crazy madness that is going on in California schools. California Parents Union CaliforniaParentsUnion.com/CaliBased, and that will take you right to the sign up page. So please go join if you are a California Parents Union or parent. Help fight the good fight. All right, we'll keep going. I won't show that up on the screen there. Let's go over to California stuff, shall we? Let's go to the post-millennial. Let's think what I want to start off with. Some of you guys are so funny. I've never seen you here before, Anna Banana. Did you leave already? Oh, unfortunate. All right, let's keep going here. Okay, so You guys hear about this one? So there's a surfing longboard competition, and the guy that runs the competition came out and said, dudes can't compete against women in this. We're going to have our women's class. And yeah, if you identify as a woman, sorry, it's your biological sex is the team that you have to play for, essentially. Well, the California Coastal Commission came out and said, nope, can't do that. That's you have to allow dudes to compete against women. So this is from the Post Millennial. It says, let's see who wrote this. Hannah Nightingale. The California Coastal Commission is requiring that Huntington Beach Longboard Pro Surf Competition must allow trans-identified males to compete in the women's division after the organization previously banned men from women's competition. The ban is not consistent with the public access, recreation, and environmental justice policies of the Coastal Act, nor is it consistent with the transgender policies adopted by the World Surf League and International Surfing Association. The California Coastal Commission, which regulates the use of land and water in the coastal zone, said in a letter to American Longboard Association founder Todd Messick. So Todd Messick's the guy that came out and said, no, you guys can't compete against women. You guys can't compete against women. Commission staff are particularly concerned that the Huntington Beach Longboard Pro may limit access to the area of the state waters for an event that does not provide equitable access to all competitors. Compliance with the policies of the WSL and the ISA would serve to preserve public recreational opportunities for all, which is a requirement of the California Coastal Act, the letter added. The letter later added, prohibiting or unfairly limiting transgender athletes from competing in this or any surf competition that takes place in the coastal waters of California does not meet the requirements of the public access policies of the Coastal Act and impedes access by discriminating against transgender surfers. Wait, hold on. Prohibiting or unfairly limiting. Oh, so that's what it is. Unfairly limiting. They're not allowed to not compete. The dudes that think they're chicks can go compete against other dudes. It's perfectly fine. You can be trans all you want and join the competition. They're not saying you can't join the competition. They're saying you can't compete against women. That's it. But they're stretching their definition that you can't limit transgender athletes. Okay. This shit drives me crazy. If you guys don't know, I'm a coach. I'm a cross-country coach. This shit drives me crazy. I will not participate in this. If this comes up during the season, I probably won't even get invited back to coach because I talk about this shit so much. But there's no way I'll compete against, or there's no way I will participate in any event where there's biological males competing against the females that I coach. I will say, if this athlete is going to compete, then I am going to be way over here during this event. I won't coach. I won't participate at all. I might just say I have to leave, but I also coach the boys, so that'll be tricky. But I will advise my girls. I don't think you should. I think the best way to stand up against this stuff is to not compete at all. That's what I would suggest. The letter stated that Messick had spoken with the commission on May 7th regarding the Saturday, May 11th event, and he had committed to follow the ISA transgender policy rule and allow trans-identified males to compete in the women's division. The commission added that if Huntington does not follow through with the commitment, commission staff would not consider the event to be exempt from permitting requirements, and American Longboard Association could be subject to a Coastal Act enforcement action, which would include administrative penalties and other remedies to address a violation of public access provision of the Coastal Act. So they're using government authority to threaten them with fines and permit restrictions. The decision to ban trans-identified males centered around the inclusion of Sasha Jane Lowerson, an Australian who had previously won men's events in the athlete's home country. Wow. I was really disappointed and surprised at being excluded, Lowerson told the BBC. You can't cherry pick the rule book. If you're going to use the rule book, you use all of it. You can't cherry pick your your gender, your sex, what, like the this shit's infuriating. 3 years ago, I had just started my transition. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You started doing weird shit 3 years ago. You're not going to ever be a woman. I'm sorry. You can't be a woman. And you can dress like one all you want. I made a phone call to Surfing Australia. He said, I was really well received. They were very forthcoming on being inclusive and being progressive. This is regressive. How is it progressive when you're destroying women's sports? Something dedicated for women, feminism, leftist. Now you're taking that away from women. That's regressive. Messick announced on April 25th that the Saturday event would not allow trans-identified males to compete in the women's division, saying he wanted to offer an equal playing field for all athletes. Messick told the BBC he was surprised by the amount of anger that the decision caused, adding, though, that he had found, too, is that there was a lot of people very appreciative of me speaking up, probably more people than there are people that are angry. For me, I was trying to do the right thing. It wasn't something I ever expected to have to deal with in reality, not in your little longboard community, he said. The WSL announced in 2023 that it would be adopting the ISA's transgender policy, which states that athletes assigned male at birth must demonstrate a testosterone level less than 5 nmol/L continuously for the preceding months, and it must maintain this level. That is so freaking ridiculous. Like, that's how they're defining a woman, is based on the testosterone level. Okay. Freaking so annoying. So freaking annoying. Northside, don't call BJ Mike a wimp. Anna Banana, kick those monsters out ASAP. Who? Me? You want me to kick them out? Oh, jeez. Are you a transgender? Are you? Because you sound like somebody pretending to be a female with really high testosterone levels. That's what you sound like here. Calling people pussies. I mean, you're being a keyboard warrior here. There's no way you would say any of the stuff that you're saying to any of the people in the chat's faces. You wouldn't. You're probably tiny and fat and possibly born a man. This is kind of okay. North side, yeah, it's funny. Deportation is a nice way to say it. I like to call it. Oh, you're a terrible person. You are just absolutely a terrible person. And you called me a Zionist. Do you think so? You think I should be deported? I was born and raised here. And what? Because I have Jew friends. Who is this person? How did you end up on my channel? Why are you here? I mean, I can't exclude anybody from anything, but I mean, I don't really want you in the chat. You're just an annoying, angry little person who probably doesn't take good care of yourself. V1800, female athletes are also tested for elevated testosterone levels as it gives a performance advantage. Yeah. But I mean, like, if you gave Hannah Banana all the testosterone in the world and somehow Hannah Banana got up to my weight class, there's no way Miss Banana over here would be able to compete with me in a ring. I mean, the testosterone thing just it's not a good metric. It's, were you born with a dick or not? That's kind of the only metric that you can really go for. Other world, that means they can dope themselves up to the test level. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. What's funny is, like, my buddy whose name I won't name, he had low testosterone, older dude, and he wanted to go get testosterone. And they made him jump through so many freaking hoops. If you're an underage female and you say that I want to be a dude, they'll just give you testosterone. It's insane. It's absolutely freaking bonkers. Oh, yeah, it's just funny. All righty, let's keep going here. So, yeah, sort of on the same in this same vein here, you know, California's putting dudes in women's prisons now, right? Even dudes that might have been locked up for raping women, they're doing that. This California's out of their freaking mind. This is from Riley Gaines over here. Just watch like 1 minute of this.
I was working at Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility, which is a male institution.
California has passed legislation allowing transgender inmates in the state's correctional facilities to be assigned housing based on their gender identity.
That's when the males started, by the numbers, identifying themselves as females, to the point where we were now giving them transgender identification cards so that they can purchase female products at the canteen, such as muumuus, makeup, bras, tampons.
In September, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed Senate Bill 132 into law.
We had to transfer male inmates to female institutions. Well, they were excited. They were like kids in a candy store because they knew they were going from a men's prison to a female's prison. We would watch them take off on the bus.
How insane is that? They're really doing this. So I don't know how this is even possible, but it's California. So let's go over to, I can't pronounce that name, but I saw this post earlier, and it's a FOIA request, a Freedom of Information Act request. I am not comfortable with the amount of lies, deceit, and misinformation that is being provided and categorized as public record. This is what our tax dollars are funding. This is unacceptable, and we need someone to come in and regulate this. Maybe the BWA US needs to step in. So let's see. This is what she's looking at here. Okay, so talking about the putting men in women's prisons, biological men in women's prisons, could implementing this policy result in pregnancy? The possibility of pregnancy was considered in the development of this policy. The CDCR has existing policies and procedures related to pregnancy. Sexual acts are prohibited in prison and will result in disciplinary and/or legal action. Housing placement will be addressed using the pre-screening tool and on a case-by-case basis, taking all case factors into consideration. That doesn't answer the question. I mean, so all the prisoner has to do, people that commit violent crimes already kind of got a screw loose. People that are going to commit rape, they got a screw loose. Why would somebody with a screw loose not say, wait a minute, hold up. All I got to do is say, I'm a woman. I don't have to take any testosterone pills. I don't have to do anything. I just grow my hair long and act goofy and say, I'm a woman now, and they'll put me in a woman's prison. Why would they not do that? Who's not going to take advantage of that has a screw loose, that's a violent criminal, to get out of a men's prison? It's freaking insane. That's what they're doing. So CIW, current pregnant females at the institution, not current intakes from county jails, established incarcerated women. Per your request, CIW, as of today, house 16 incarcerated pregnant persons. They say pregnant persons, not pregnant women. If you have any questions or need additional information, you can manage your request through the CDCR Public Records Portal. Sincerely, Clarence Hogan, PRA coordinator. And again, why isn't this happening in the other direction? Why is it only biological men going into women's prisons? Just like it's only biological men going into women's sports. Why? Why aren't the biological women going into male prisons? There's a reason. This shit's insane. California is out of their freaking minds. All right, enough of that topic. We'll keep going here. So we'll go over to K-Ron Channel 4 really quick. Let's see. B1800, they should get taxpayer-funded tampons for life. Yeah, even if they're dudes. Also free anal lube and house them all together. Danger. Fun fact: prostate cancer feeds off testosterone, so all the treatments is low. Oh, cool. I got a guest booked. Fun fact: prostate cancer feeds off of testosterone, so one of the treatments is to lower men's testosterone and extremely low levels to almost zero. Does that make them women? Asking for a friend. Man. Yeah. So if men with low testosterone that are under that threshold, like, should they be able to compete in women's sports? Yeah. Is that the point you're making there, Lonnie? It's an excellent point. So yeah, there's plenty of dudes out there with their whole lives, competing against other dudes, and their testosterone levels have slowly dropped over time. If they're below a certain threshold, can they compete in the women's class now, like jiu-jitsu? This whole men in women's sports thing for me started way back with the whole Fallon Fox thing, when Fallon Fox didn't tell anybody that, hey, I was born a dude and I actually have a child that, from a woman that I impregnated. And now I'm going to go punch women in the face. And that's what happened. I think Fallon Fox ultimately lost finally, though. Fallon Fox wasn't even a good fighter. It was so annoying. All right, let's go to Gavin Newsom here. So Gavin Newsom swears that our tourism's off the charts, you guys. California tourism is back. Can't you tell? Because Financial District is a ghost town. So is downtown Oakland. San Francisco is not a tourist destination right now. People are scared to go to San Francisco. San Francisco has a terrible reputation worldwide. It used to be one of the cities that everybody wanted to go to. San Francisco was like New York, New York's having the same problem, right? San Francisco's, the iconic cities: San Francisco, New York, London, Hong Kong, Paris. Those are just 5 cities that come to mind. American cities, Seattle. It's a bunch of Western cities Western cities and liberal cities that are no longer desirable to go to. The famous ones: Seattle, San Francisco, LA, New York. Miami's still good to go to, from my understanding. I wonder why that is. Oh, it's not a super liberal bastion of hell. All right. So Gavin Newsom climbed his happy ass up on the top of the Golden Gate Bridge, not just the bridge part, all the way up on the arch portion, and decided to tell everybody how good tourism numbers are. I wonder if he does the thing where he claps. That thing? I think the thing he does, it drives me freaking crazy. He always does it. Let's see what old Gavin has to say here.
So I'm up here on the iconic Golden Gate Bridge, a testament to America's greatness, California's greatness. And we couldn't be more proud to announce today record-breaking tourism numbers in the state of California. Over $150 billion of tourism spend, unprecedented in our state's history.
Wow, the governor hanging out at the top of the Golden Gate Bridge there.
So 150 billion in tourism spent. So what does that mean? That's how they're calculating all of this. It's not by numbers of actual people. So dig into that a little bit.
Posting that video on social media announcing that tourists have spent more than $150 billion in California in the last year, surpassing the 140.
Now, does that include illegal immigrants that are given taxpayer dollars to spend in California? Is that figure include that? Because I would be curious, because if that goes towards tourism, it's not really an accurate metric, is it?
$4 billion record set back in 2019. The governor said that not only is the state retaining its title as the world's 5th largest economy, it's also growing in population for the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic. The San Francisco Travel Association says more than 23 million visitors came to the city last year and spent nearly $9 billion.
If it is growing at all, it's growing despite Gavin Newsom and California government, not because of it. Everything they're doing is destroying this freaking state. Everything they do. All right, I'm not going to read their freaking article. It's not even that long anyway. But yeah, what do they say? Okay, same thing they just said in the video. It's not growing. So this is the kind of tourism that I think of when Gavin says that tourism is rising. If you guys are unsure what I'm showing you here, this is a bunch of illegal immigrants that take a boat and they drive it into some port in San Diego, and they always leave it running for some reason. They always leave the freaking boat running. Can you just turn the boat off? Maybe even tie it off. Nobody's coming to get you. Just tie the boat off, turn the boat off. You don't have to go all crazy. Nobody's coming to get you anyway. But that's what is happening all over San Diego. There's tons of videos coming out, and this is like a new tactic. You'll see people fly onto shore with the boat and like beach the boat, and you see 20 people pop out. And this boat, this is not a cheap boat. And listen to it. Sounds like it's got a ballsy V8. I don't think it is. It's just maybe it's like an outboard motor, but still, this isn't a cheap. This is like a wakeboarding boat. It's got the thing for wakeboarding. It's a fishing boat, but you use it for wakeboarding, I'm sure. But I mean, this is what it's. I don't know boat prices, but I would guess this is a $20,000 to $30,000 boat. Okay, how much did these illegal immigrants pay to come here on this boat? This is clearly a cartel funded operation here. Are they carrying backpacks full of fentanyl? What's the deal here? What's going on? What is all this? And why are we doing nothing about it? Wide open border in California. This isn't just a Joe Biden policy problem. This is Gavin Newsom and sanctuary state policies where we say, we'll give you housing, we'll give you a debit card. You can work any job that a Californian can work. Any job. You can become a cop. Guaranteed. It's fairly easy to, if a legal immigrant wants to vote and they establish residence here, they can vote. They can get a ballot in the mail. Absolutely. All they got to do is check a box and say, I'm a citizen. All this shit's insane. All of this shit is incentivized by Gavin Newsom's sanctuary state policies. And is this the tourism that Gavin's talking about? I mean, I guess on the good side, somebody could be like, I got dibs on that boat. That's my boat now. Can you just go register the boat and say it's mine? Like, free boat. It's a nice boat. I want that boat. But I don't know how that works. Just all this shit's insane. Insanity. California insanity. Oh, all right. So speaking of elections, the election crap. Check the chat really quick. It always does that. Let's see. North side. This is genius. We will just let the criminals pick their gender identity, and they have proven to be a trustworthy bunch. No chance they will F this up. Yeah, no true. Or no shit. I say they should get taxpayer funded Oh yeah, I already said that. Sorry. Also, okay, I already said that. You RGS, I'm triggering you with this video. This X post and my response got me banned for 12 hours. What do you mean? The boat that I showed right there? Wally World, are they stolen boats? They have to be. I mean, oh, yeah, that could be, huh? They just steal the boats from somewhere. They have to steal the boats. I mean, stolen boats from Mexico, maybe. Yeah, that could be. That could be. Yeah, good point. Good point. Those are inflated dollars making that record. Yeah, that's what I'm asking. So like they're measuring tourism by just dollars spent on tourism. Well, I mean, do they count like the buses that they ship illegal immigrants to and fro? Like those buses cost a ton of money. Do they count the hotel charges? Like all of this stuff, that's all California taxpayer funding that's paying for it. And are they counting that towards the tourism? Is all money being spent on illegal immigrants? And they're like, look how great tourism is. It's yeah, people coming here illegally, touring. Oh, it's so annoying. The Gavin Newsom post. Which one? The one of him up on the bridge? What was your response? Didn't you say something about like, oh no, that's you? Yeah, but you said that. Yeah, but you said you said he should do something that would get him down off that bridge rather quickly. That's what happened there. So I remember that. Yeah, okay, I remember what you're saying there. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you should have been banned for that, but you did. I mean, you know, at least like the Twitter rules when people get suspended now seem to be more clear. You know, I'm not saying you should have been suspended, but they at least they seem to be adhering to their rules more clearly now. Calls to self-harm and all that kind of stuff. Let's see. All right, keep going here. So talk about California elections a little bit. Oh, we're doing good on time. So this is from the Associated Press. 2 months to count election ballots. 2 months. California's long tallies turn election days into weeks and months. So we went from 1 day isn't enough. 1 day isn't enough to count the votes. Everybody gets a mail-in ballot. No signature ID required. 1 day isn't enough to count the votes. We went from that to we need 2 months to count the votes. How can anybody call California elections legit? Like anyone. How can anybody anywhere look at California elections and say, yeah, those are secure, legitimate elections? How can anybody look at that? And yeah, I don't care on YouTube. I am saying that the policies themselves are what make California elections not legitimate. I'm not saying anything about the voting machines. I mean, I don't trust the voting machines either, but the easiest way to commit voter fraud, that's a buzzword you're not supposed to say on YouTube, but the easiest way to commit voter fraud is with mail-in ballots. They used to call them absentee ballots because they were hard to get. You had to be overseas. You had to apply for the ballot. Now everybody gets mailed a ballot. And it takes 2 months to count the votes, and nobody needs to show ID when they vote. There's plenty of other things around the election laws that make them shady, but with just those three things together, how can anybody say that California elections are clear or secure, rather? So let's read this from the AP. Let's see how the AP covers this. Los Angeles Associated Press. Nearly 2 months after the election, nearly 2 months after the election, a recount settled the outcome in the Northern California U.S. House primary contest, breaking a mathematically improbable tie for second place, but also spotlighting the lengthy stretch it took to count the votes. Most California residents vote by mail, and that's a problem. That is a major problem. And in the pursuit of accuracy, thoroughness, and counting every vote, the nation's most populous state has gained a reputation for tallies that can drag on for weeks and sometimes longer. Voting in the state's primary election concluded on March 5th. At that time, my election took like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that, for them to have 100% of the vote counted. I'm not alleging any shenanigans in mine. I only got 2%, but anyway, at the time when many Americans have doubts about election integrity, a 2-month stretch to tally the votes in the House race absolutely is a problem from an optics point of view, said Kim Alexander, president of the nonpartisan California Voter Foundation, which seeks to improve the voting process. No one has publicly challenged the accuracy of the tabulation, but when you have ballots that are just sitting around for any period of time, it raises eyebrows, said the Republican consultant Tim Rosales, who was not involved in the race. Not to suggest anything untoward is going on, but the average voter, they become skeptical about the time and the length of the process, Rosales said. I am suggesting that something untoward is going on. I'd never heard that word until now, and it just sounds like a pompous word, something that an arrogant man would say. Secretary of State Shirley Weber, who oversees elections, said in a statement, I understand that people want finality, but accuracy is of utmost importance. The fact that California and its counties take a bit longer to have inclusive elections and ensure accuracy should make people more confident in the results. What? Yeah, if you're a Democrat, more confident that you're going to win because you got this shit in the bag because of the policies you've implemented. You freaking... I can't call you that word. What to know about the 2024 election? Democracy. American democracy has overcome big stress tests in 2020. More challenges lie ahead in 2024. AP's role. The Associated Press is the most trusted source of information on election night. Bullshit you are. With a history of accuracy dating back to 1848. Oh, God. I'm not even going to read the last one. 11 candidates were on the ballot in the heavily Democratic 16th District, south of San Francisco, a seat being vacated by retiring Democratic Rep. Anna Eshoo. Under California rules, all candidates appear on the same ballot, but only the two with the most votes advance to the general election, regardless of political party. That's the California jungle primary that they do. So it's so stupid. A tally of votes in early April showed that the top spot was claimed by former San Jose Mayor Sam Liccardo, a Democrat. Two other Democrats were deadlocked for the second spot with 30,249 votes. State Assembly member Evan Lowe and Santa Clara County Supervisor Joe Simitian. The tally was the tally was followed by a recount and disputes over the contested ballots that concluded Wednesday, with Lowe picking up a 5-vote advantage in the recount to claim the second spot on the November ballot. The contest will not play into control of the narrowly divided House, which will be decided in a swing districts being contested by Democrats and Republicans around the country. The Voter Foundation's Alexander said that one of the problems behind lengthy counts is tight budgets for county election officials who do laborious work. She said there is no direct funding from the state to administer elections, so counties are limited to how many people can be hired to review ballots and what kind of equipment is used. And close contests mean long vote counts. There was a time when more residents voted in person and on the day of the election, but the rise of mail-in voting has come with its own complications. Mail-in ballots postmarked by the date of the election can arrive 7 days and are still valid. Can arrive within 7 days and are still valid. Well, that doesn't work. Like that, get rid of mail-in ballots. That doesn't work. If you can't get your ass up and go drop your ballot, if you can't get your ass up, go to a voter polling station. Yeah, you shouldn't be voting. If you're that freaking lazy, if you can't figure it out, then yeah, you shouldn't be voting. Just so frustrating. The heavy reliance on mail-in ballots, every voter receives one, also results in an extended tally because each must be opened individually, validated, and processed. For example, it took nearly a month in 2022 for Republican John Duarte to be declared the winner of the 13th congressional district in Central California. He defeated Democrat Adam Gray by 564 votes. In 2018, Republicans raised questions about California's lengthy ballot counting process after Democrats captured a string of U.S. House seats in the Senate. So that was before everybody got a mail-in ballot, and they're still looking shady. Like California elections were shady before the mail-in ballots. California also has provisions under which voters must be contracted if a if a mail ballot isn't signed or the signature doesn't match official records, again, creating delays. So they have to hand look at every signature. Why not just make the person vote in person? Then you don't even need to verify that crap. And make them show ID. Problem solved. Just make them go to a place in person, make them show ID. Done deal. And last minute voting means election officials can be swamped by heaps of ballots, even though mail-in voting begins a month before the election ends. Yeah, so if you're going to have mail-in ballots and people, so that's the other thing, you guys, they'll accept ballots that are 7 days late when you can vote a month early. You get your mail-in ballot like 2 months or something before the election even starts. You're allowed to turn those ballots in a month before the voting day. So why is there any reason that it should be a week prior postmarked or 4 days prior? I mean, what is the maximum amount of time something takes in the mail-in ballots? Mail-in ballots is the problem of all of this and not showing voter ID. This shit is insane. California elections are freaking screwed. They're illegitimate. California also has provisions under which the voter must be contacted if the mail-in ballot isn't signed or the signature doesn't match the official records, again, creating delays. And last-minute voting means election officials may be swarmed with heaps of ballots, even though mail-in balloting begins a month before the election ends. Liccardo made several recommendations, including passage of a law that would require automatic recounts in close races funded by the government, not candidates, outside donors, or political action committees. Under state law, any voter can request a recount, but that individual must also cover the costs. Oh, crap. I didn't know that. Oh, so if I would have been in the election and it would have been down to 100 votes and it said I lost by 100 votes and I demanded a recount, I would have had to pay for that? Oh, my God. That's insane. I didn't know that, which can sometimes run into hundreds of thousands of dollars. Talk about keeping people out of voting or keeping people out of running for office. They make it so hard for regular old blue collar people, working class people to run for office. They make it virtually impossible. You can't have a full-time job and run for office. You can't do it and win. There's just no way. You can't freaking do it. It's so much work. I mean, it's virtually impossible to do it by yourself. You got to have you got to have a treasurer, you got to have a campaign manager, a campaign organizer. I tried to do all of it myself, and go figure. I got 2% of the vote. How's that? And I ran as a libertarian. That's funny. All right, let's keep going here. It's just so frustrating. Gavin Newsom, Gavin Newsom's trying to make an amendment to the Constitution. If you support mandating background checks, banning civilian purchases of assault weapons, raising the federal minimum wage to buy a firearm from 18 to 21, then please sign our petition today and join the movement to pass a new amendment to the U.S. Constitution today. It says today twice in like the same sentence. It's annoying. It's a small act that can make a big difference. It's a small unconstitutional act, and you can't define what assault weapon means. That's why we have big stupid pins on our pistol grips. Apparently that makes it not an assault weapon. So annoying. All right. The RGS, you told him to jump. Yes, you did. You should be. Northside, if only he had RGS, if only he had. V1800, 20% of Dem voters are deceased, so mail-in voting works. Yeah, sure does. I'm always fighting zombies in my dreams. That's strange. V1800, you would have to sell your Lambo. Yeah. Matty Bracco, nice to see you. Let's see what we got here. Change the name from absentee ballot to mail-in ballot because they have different rules. Yeah, exactly. Absentee ballots are, and remember, absentee ballots were notoriously the easiest way to commit fraud, was with the absentee ballots. And then just everybody gets a ballot in the mail and you can vote 30 days early. You have 2 months to count the votes, and you don't got to show ID, and ballot harvesting's illegal, and gerrymandering, and the DMV automatically registers everyone to vote. It's just so freaking shady. And all you got to do is check a box to say you're a citizen. Insane. Blue Nikki, someone is keeping track of your voting record. Trust. I had some petitioners come by my door and they accidentally divulged what they knew about my profile. What the hell? Danger. All the fin does is make your firearm unsafe to handle. Damn straight. It's so freaking annoying. Like if you guys aren't Californians, you don't know about the pistol grip rule on a semi-automatic rifle. Your thumb can't be below the trigger. So they put this big stupid fin on there. So I have to hold my AR, because I still have the stupid fin on there. I have to hold my AR with my thumb forward. And luckily I have giant hands, so I can still hold it but it's basically it basically chops off your thumb. So imagine trying to have good control of your rifle and not having a thumb. That's what it does. They also have grips that angle back so far where it puts your thumb above the trigger. It's so stupid. It's got like a severe angle on it. You know, just like an old school rifle that doesn't have a pistol grip. It's just the grip is on the stock. Oh, it's so frustrating. So freaking frustrating. While we're talking about that, let me promo something really quick here. So if you guys go down into the show notes description, you'll see something that you can purchase with the links. This is one of my favorite things that I have here. This is the spy belt. This is what I use when I'm running. I use it when I'm just like out and about, when I'm wearing like shorts that only have like one pocket, like board shorts or whatever. It's a little mini fanny pack. It's the best. You can keep your phone, your wallet, your keys in there. It's wonderful. I love this thing. And I will say, though, this is only a 10-round magazine, because, you know, more than 10-round magazines are illegal in California. This just looks like a 30-round magazine. But I will say the spy belt holds a 30-round magazine, as you guys can see. And just saying, it does do that. But if you go into the show notes description there, you can purchase a spy belt. They're like $25, $20, $25 or something like that. Watch this quick video. They're awesome little pieces. You guys should all get one. You can see they come in a bunch of different colors. You can adjust them to the size of your waist. I wear these when I don't want to wear my vest, because a lot of times I don't like carrying water. So if I'm doing like a 7 miler or less, I just wear my spy belt, and it's fantastic. Oh, that one I keep it on my front. Yeah, I keep it on the front. It's just easier to access that way. It's a great thing. I get mine in all black, but yeah, spy belt's wonderful. They only show chicks wearing them. You can wear them, dudes. It's okay, especially if you wear the black one. You can't even notice that you're wearing it. But yeah, great piece. Great little piece. You guys should get one. Spy belt, show notes description. If you see it there. Yeah, let's see. Someone downvoted. I don't care. That biological male's a weirdo. North side. I'm not too worried about it. It's so funny. I think that's the first troll I've had in my chat. It's weird people get so angry about stuff. So angry that I don't want to deport American-born citizens. Like, what the hell are you talking about? It's so freaking bizarre. All right, let's go back to the California stuff, shall we? I got plenty more time. Oh yeah, that's not California. Where are we at? Jeez, I lost my way, guys. Okay, here it is. All right, we'll keep going here. So this is from Mike Netter. Another shady California thing that they're trying to do. California lawmakers are seeking to create an exemption for unions and real estate developers for the state's anti-corruption laws that place limits on when and how much politicians can accept from interests that they'll be voting or overseeing matters for. So unions like the one I work for, the IBEW, that, again, California policies have made it so new contracts that have to use union workers 80% of those hours have to be billed towards union members that went through the apprenticeship. So people like me that didn't go through the apprenticeship now have a 20% chance of getting that job. And that's just because of California policy. I went through a 3-year apprenticeship. It just wasn't with the union. I was in my trade for 14 years before I joined the union. And now somebody that is brand new, doesn't have any experience whatsoever, but if they just went through the apprenticeship, they have an 80%, is that how it works? 80% higher chance of getting the job than I do. It's super screwed up. And it's this, that's not pro-worker. That's not pro-worker at all. The unions are supposed to be representing the worker. So California unions and government are they work hand in hand. The unions are supposed to be fighting the government on behalf of the worker, and they're working with the government against the worker's best interests. That's how it always works. The IBEW is so shady. In California, the 3 largest donor types by sector are organized labor, including public sector unions representing the state and local government employees, real estate, including developers seeking permits or regulatory changes. And so why is housing so expensive? Because you can't just buy land and build a house unless you're a developer and you want to build these cookie cutter crammed in on top of each other units and all that stuff. You can't just easily buy land and go build a house. Healthcare, which includes healthcare providers and healthcare worker unions with lucrative government contracts. By exempting unions and most real estate, the new bill will allow unions representing government employees or workers with government contracts to donate to candidates who support paying them more. The developers to more transparently donate to politicians who will approve their projects. While businesses and unions typically oppose each other on legislation, their shared interests in maintaining political access have created an unusual alliance. Corruption in plain sight, as California politicians can keep taking more money and then voting on the issues which affect the groups and people they take money from. What could go wrong? That's from Mike Nutter. I don't know how to stop any of this. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. The middle class is disappearing. People can't pay their electrical. People can't pay their rent. People can't buy groceries. Gas prices are insane. They're trying to trans your kids. It's just, we need more people fighting and speaking out really loudly. And so many people aren't willing to risk their reputation or risk getting canceled or whatever. You have to, or you got to leave. I'm not saying you have to leave. I'm saying you're going to be forced to leave. I don't want to leave, but I don't know how much longer I can survive here. Literally survive. I could live much more, and wages don't go up. That's what's insane. Is I'm realizing that there's a lot of places in the country that pay very similar to what California jobs make, but things are half the price. Shit's bad. All right, keep going here. All right, this is from Max Bonilla. Let's watch this quick video clip. He says, California Attorney General admits to breaking the law. Rob Bonta. I can't stand this guy. She's just like Gavin Newsom. California's top prosecutor now admits that despite there being no state law that allows him to sue school districts for being transparent with parents about their kids' change in gender preferences, he is doing so anyway. One of the newest endeavors in partnership with the California Department of Education is taking Rockland Unified School District to court for violating their made-up rule. According to court documentation, Governor Newsom agrees with keeping children's social transitions a secret from parents as a matter of state policy. That's insane. Why are teachers even talking to kids about gender transition? They have no business talking to them about that at all. They're making it a state policy for teachers to keep it secret from parents. Join the California Parents Union, guys. CaliforniaParentsUnion.com/CaliBased. Go join. It's the more people that join, the more we can fight this crap as well. And you can do it more anonymously if you don't want to just go out and put yourself out on the line. According to court documentation, Gavin Newsom, okay, I already read that. Furthermore, Escondido teachers are suing the state over this policy, which they believe violates their religious and or moral beliefs. Rob Bonta and Gavin Newsom have now removed the defendants in that case. Follow for more updates in California. Yeah, you guys follow Max Bonilla. He's fantastic. He's only like 19 years old. This kid's a little genius too. Yeah, I think he's only 19. Yeah, let's watch his quick video here.
This has to be criminal. Attorney General Rob Bonta, the man you see behind me of the state of California, is taking all these different school districts to court for deciding to overturn gender secrecy policies that keep it a secret from parents when their kids are identifying as a different gender from their biological sex. And he just admitted that there's no law on the books that allows him to do that. In fact, he made a rule that allows himself to do that. Here's the documentation from a court proceeding in which Rob Bonta is a defendant, where teachers from Escondido were not following this secrecy policy, and it specifically says that this policy isn't even a mandate of state law. Rockland Unified School Board is the next victim of Rob Bonta and the California Department of Education, because they just got a lawsuit filed against them for enacting a policy where parents have to know if their kid wants to use the bathroom of the different gender than what they are biologically, and also if they're identifying as such. Now, if you see behind me, this rule that they're using to do this comes from the California bureaucracy. It comes from the California Department of Education Administrative Regulations 5020. Again, none of this actually passed through the legislature, so Escondido, Chino, and now Rockland are all victims of this rule.
Yeah, Temecula is having some serious issues with this crap as well. Let's check the chat really quick. Let's see. Colorado is a red state. You got a Twitter Spaces in there. DIY solutions, no attorney required. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. Send me an invite or whatever. Send me a thing. What are you guys going to be talking about? I'm done listening to the problems. Let me know when you are too. What do you mean? I don't understand. If you don't listen to the problems, how do you know they exist? I'm not sure. Nikki, amen. Stay and fight. I say that until my property taxes and utilities double. Yeah, then if they get rid of what is it, Prop 13, people that have their house paid off, that bought their house back in the 60s, 70s, or even 80s, their property taxes are going to freaking skyrocket. Yeah, the RGS, nobody cares about Anna Banana. Blind Lady Liberty, Pleasure Point looks like crap. It does? What, where? Like, what's going on? That sucks. I haven't been out there in a couple of months. I mean, yeah, not that long ago. I just drive through there, though. I don't really go there too often. Pleasure Point Pizzas, it sucks. I hate it. There's a house right on the corner of Opal Cliff and 41st that I did that whole house. I did all the TVs, the speakers, the shades, the lighting, all that stuff. And I went to Pleasure Point Pizza like twice. And first time I went there, it sucked. And I was like, I'll give them another shot. Maybe it was just a bad day. But yeah, I'm just not a fan. That was where I started eating Betty's burgers, Betty's insanely priced burgers as well. I'm a Eric's Deli fan personally. Sorry, that was a little tangent, little Pleasure Point Capitola tangent. Northside, you checking the surf, Blind Lady? I wish I surfed. I'm just scared of sharks. I'm such a wimp. Maybe Anna Banana was right. I am kind of a wimp when it comes to sharks. I'm not a fan. If I go out in like open water and something hits my foot, I freak out. It scares the crap out of me. I'm not even surfing. I want to go. I want to do a triathlon, so I want to do open water swimming. I want to swim around the pier in Santa Cruz over by the boardwalk. I want to swim around that thing. I've seen plenty of people do it, and I want to do it, but I'm terrified. I'm not terrified of the actual swimming part. I'm terrified of sharks. I'm terrified of seals. I'm terrified of jellyfish. I'm such a wimp when it comes to the ocean. All right, sorry, random tangent. You guys got me talking about Pleasure Point and Santa Cruz and all that stuff. There's another one from Mike Nutter. He says the state of California is facing an additional $16 billion tax collection shortfall as of April 15th tax deadline. Passed a general fund emergency spending freeze for all discretionary spending and now plans major tax increases for the most taxed state. Governor Newsom claimed on March 31st that the personal income tax, PIT, collections for fiscal year 2023-2024, year ending June 30th, totaled $83.87 million. For fiscal year 23-24, ending June 3rd, were trending plus $13 billion, or about plus 6%, above his January budget update. The state of California facing an additional $16 billion tax collection shortfall as of April 15th tax deadline, passed a general fund emergency spending freeze for all discretionary spending and now plans on major tax increases for the. Wait, did you? I think he cut and pasted this and did it twice. Yeah, I think he did that 2 or 3 times. That was weird. So I'll skip to the next paragraph. Newsom's budget staff and Cine warned Democrat legislators that the state had burnt through almost all the $97.5 billion it received from the Biden administration to bail out during the COVID-19 pandemic, along with most of its rainy day fund reserves. As a result, to enlarge the pool of potential options for Governor Newsom and the legislature have balanced the fiscal 2024-2025 budget beginning in July with even more draconian spending freezes and huge across-the-board tax increases. Scoreboard Gavin and crew have blown through almost $100 billion surplus in a year. Now they need to tax you more because they can't stop spending. Yeah, that is right. And BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit, they are screwed. Like, they are absolutely screwed. And they're trying to pass a ballot initiative to get us to vote to spend more money on BART instead of stopping spending money somewhere else in the state and diverting that money to BART. They won't do that. I got into it on Twitter last night with some guy who's talking about how everybody needs to vote yes on this thing because we got to save BART. It's like, no, California has BART is a train. The California high-speed rail is a train that doesn't exist. Put it on hold. Take whatever money that is, put it towards BART. And he's like, the California high-speed rail doesn't have anything to do with BART. It's like, they're both in California. One's a train that's working, that people rely on. One's a train that doesn't work, that's way overdue, way over budget, and is destroying us. Take that money and put it the government could do that if they wanted to. They do all sorts of things they're not supposed to do. All right, we'll keep going here. This isn't in California, but it's West Coast. I'm pretty sure this is out of Portland. But this goes to the whole harm reduction crap and the NGOs that are just freaking they're just robbing Californians blind and saying they're fixing the homeless problem, saying they're fixing the fentanyl crisis when all they're doing is handing out tents, handing out needles, handing out crack pipes, all that stuff. Well, this is what it looks like in practice. This is what freaking harm reduction looks like in practice. And this could be true for Seattle. This could be true for Portland, LA, San Francisco, all these cities. This is what harm reduction actually looks like here.
Listen, here, kill yourself. That's what you say. That's right. I don't know. I just think they don't value people's lives. That person or stuff too. It could be somebody's kid, is somebody's dad, or is somebody's grandpa. I don't think they think about that in that way. It's really sad.
It's funny. The left always talks about enabling transphobia or enabling bigotry or enabling fat phobia. They always say that stuff when you say, yeah, you're not actually healthy if you're obese. They say that's enabling fat phobia. And then they go and they hand out crack pipes and fentanyl, and they call it harm reduction, not enabling drug use. They're always such a freaking walking contradiction. This is a woman living on the streets telling you what you're doing isn't helping. In fact, it's making the problem worse. And I think you want to kill us.
And then they drive away, and then you witness people dying literally every day.
Every day.
From very pipes, straws, and foil that they handed your friends.
Yeah. Said, here, kill your.
Harm reduction. More like population reduction. They don't want anybody to get better. They want them to disappear. Shit is sick. It is sick. So on that same note, let's go over to Adam Nathan. He's a great follow over on Twitter. Adam P. Nathan, at Adam P. Nathan. And he says, why is San Francisco a national leader in drug overdoses? How is it possible that a city of 800,000 people can outpace the national average by a large margin? Let's look at some of the data to see how we got here. So this is a graph that he shared, and it's pretty telling, this graph. So you see around 2000, a little before 2019, these drug overdose deaths per 100,000 residents. So this is per capita too. So this is a pretty accurate representation of where San Francisco is at versus where the rest of the United States is at. And you can see everybody around 2020, it started going up. Drug overdoses around 2020, when everybody got locked down and had to look at that. It almost perfectly coincides with lockdowns. It was March, right? March of 2020 was when the lockdown started. And look at this. It's like a couple of months into 2020, you see the national average of overdose deaths just starts going up and up and up and up. Not even looking at the San Francisco chart, the United States, right around 2020, it just starts going up and up and up and up and up. And then it gets to 22 and it sort of plateaus there, goes up a little bit more. But I mean, that's pretty telling. You know, you isolate people in their homes, you make it not illegal, but by decree, you say you can't go to the gym, you can't go see your friends, you can't go see your family, you can't do anything social, but we're going to leave the liquor stores open. We're going to leave the pot shops open. We're not going to prosecute drug dealers. So what do you get? You get tons of overdoses. Yeah, I'm not saying people are overdosing on weed. That's not what I'm saying. Or alcohol. But I mean, I would like to see the alcoholism numbers. Those probably went through the roof as well. So, you fill people with tons of anxiety, you isolate them, you don't let them go anywhere, and you only give them access to unhealthy shit because you shut the gyms down. Freaking Netflix and chill with your crap pipe. Like, that's what you get right here. Look at this. It's just insane, right? Perfectly in line with 2020. But why did it start happening before? Like, you see San Francisco's, and it goes like almost straight up. It's insane. Drug overdoses in San Francisco. And these coincide with the harm reduction policies that were introduced. We're going to start handing out crack pipes. We're going to start handing out fentanyl. If you're homeless here, we'll give you a freaking debit card that will reload every month with a few $100. So as people started coming to San Francisco to take advantage of these, hey, I can live on the streets and do drugs all I want policies. And you get tons of drug overdosing because of harm reduction. So here's your harm reduction right here, guys. That's your harm reduction. Just going through the roof since the harm reduction policies were implemented. It's always the exact opposite of what they say it's going to be. So if they introduce a bill that says, we're introducing a bill and we're calling it Make Housing Cheaper. The Make Housing Cheaper bill will 100% make housing more expensive for everybody. And this is a perfect example of like everything they do. Everything they say they're going to do, they do the exact opposite every single time. You have to ask if it's on purpose at some point. So we'll get out of his graph here. We'll see what he has. So why? Why did all this happen? So he says, I understand the entire country has been affected by the fentanyl and overdose deaths. Last year, 109,000 people died, 811 of them in San Francisco. To to give you perspective, in 2010, there were 38,239 overdose deaths and 331 deaths total in San Francisco between 2010 and 2021. So in 10 years, that number more than doubled. So whatever they did over the course of the last 10 years made the problem more than double. As best we can tell, cartels figured out how many synthetic opioids using precursor chemicals purchased mainly from China. Once they switched, heroin went away, and San Francisco got flooded with fentanyl. SFPD reported seizing 70 kilos of fentanyl in an 8-month period. A kilo is 2.2 pounds. Don't ask me why I know that. What has been San Francisco's response to this? In the beginning, denial followed by de facto decriminalization during the Chesapeake era and massive funding of harm reduction. But now, in an election year, the city is embracing law enforcement and recovery. Scarlett, go lay down. Go lay down. We're almost done. Almost done, Mama. San Francisco. Did you guys hear her noise? She makes the cutest noises. San Francisco literally went from flirting with decriminalization and supporting drug dealers to harm reduction isn't working in a span of 4 years. Amazing. So let's listen to London.
Believe it or not,
I will not apologize for the stances that I have done.
So this is crazy ass London breed that championed harm reduction. Her Chesapeake, Dean Preston, all these other freaking sycophants, and Gavin Newsom championed, funding all these non-governmental organizations with taxpayer money so they can walk around and quite literally hand out crack pipes, hand out fentanyl needles, and then allow dealers to sell fentanyl right on the street corners. So they're giving everybody everything they need to be a drug addict except for the drugs. And then they're allowing the drugs to be sold and not allowing the cops to do anything. And if the cops do something, the judges will just dismiss the charges and they'll be right back out there the next day. Oh, yeah, and they made it so illegal immigrants can become cops. Fact check me. Let's listen to what London Breed's saying about it now that it's an election year.
Have done to invest in the various solutions in order to make sure that treatment is easier to get than access to drugs. And I am unapologetic in my investments in making sure that we have outpatient support, making sure that we have on-demand resources for those who are asking for treatment. That we are.
You hear all those people cheering? Now that I know that crowds on demand exists, I would bet, I don't have money to bet, but I would bet that they hire people to go out there and be like, yeah, cheer, and hire a crowd to make it look like there's people that actually support her when nobody supports London Breed. If you do, you're out of your mind. I don't know who in San Francisco or anywhere in California supports crazy ass London Breed. Keep going.
Making it easier to help people than to harm people. Because you know what? Harm reduction, from my perspective, is not reducing the harm.
this is San Francisco, believe it or not.
I will not apologize for the stances that I have taken that have been controversial.
Why? Why won't you? There's people dying on your streets and you're not going to apologize. You gave them the tools to do it.
For the people who are selling poison on the streets of San Francisco.
Oh, now you're saying you will not apologize for going after them, even though you didn't go after them. And the only reason that you are now probably is because Brooke Jenkins is trying to do something about it. And Chesapeake got recalled.
That's taken life. I will not apologize for the policies I'm pushing for. Because at the end of the day, I wish someone had been there for my sister.
Why weren't you there for your sister, you twat?
There had been somebody pushing her and pulling her and aggressively making sure that she was alive today. So I'd rather make people uncomfortable. I'd rather make
them uncomfortable by living on the streets of San Francisco, strung out on drugs? Is that what you mean?
do whatever they have to do to be angry at me for pushing the envelope, because at the end of the day, if you alive, that's all that matters to me.
Yeah, I think the opposite is true. I think you actually don't want these people to be alive, and that's why you're allowing them to get poisoned. Okay, whatever. All right, folks. I think that is yeah, I think that's all I got for the evening, my friends. Let's see, check in with the chat really quick. Yeah, you guys, I got downvoted. Somebody gave me a thumbs down. So if you guys are still watching, you can give that like button a tap. I'd be much appreciated, especially if you're watching over there on Rumble. If you're watching over there on Twitter, X, go ahead and give it a retweet, a like. All that stuff greatly helps the show grow. If you're still watching Colorado's Red State, send me an invite to that space. I'd love to sit in and listen to what you guys are talking about. Maddie Bracco, she must be related to Maxine Waters. All the worst California politicians say the same shit. Leah Roby, wow, just alive, not living. Yeah, I know, right? Hey, that was very poetic. Yeah, good way to put it. Danger. What about peanut butter fish? What are you talking about? I don't know. I don't know what that means. Is that a riddle? All right. That is all I got for the evening, folks. I will be back here again tomorrow, Friday night. I don't think I'll have a guest tomorrow night. I'm going to try and do at least one guest a week now, starting probably next week. I've got 3 people booked. Yeah, I got somebody helping me now with booking. So hopefully I'll be getting more guests and talking about a lot more interesting things and getting other people's perspectives. So you don't need to just listen to me rant and rave all night. The RGS, North Side, Anna Banana, if you're still here. North Side, I already said UV 1800. And Leah Roby, thank you guys so much for hanging out over there on Rumble. Danger, Maddie Bracco, Nikki. Colorado's a free state. Danger, I already said you, I think. Wally World. Let's see. Michael Letter. Hopefully I got all you guys. Beast is my man. All right. I think I got all you guys. If I missed you, I apologize. That is all I got for the evening. Before we get out of here, you know how we do it. We got to tell a joke from the greatest book ever written, The Truth About Chuck Norris. Let's see. What do we have tonight? Oh, that's so stupid. I can't read that one. Oh, boy. All right, this is a spicy one, you guys. This is a spicy joke. The RGS, when am I inviting Phil? I'm not inviting him. I have somebody doing my booking now. So whatever date they decide, whatever date Phil decides. You know he's going on Jimmy Dore. So I think I'll be getting him. Hopefully I'll be getting him before he goes on Jimmy Dore. I think he's going on the 24th with Jimmy Dore. So hopefully I get him before that. All right. Chuck Norris joke of the evening. Here it is. Rosa Parks refused to get out of her seat because she was saving it for Chuck Norris. And on that note, stay CaliBased. That was a good pop there.